Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's Conjuror Community, Afternoon Astonishment. I am here with Alexander Slimmer today. My name's Adam Grace, and we are the world's best magic club. So today we're going to look at the old school magic of John Bannon. So do us a favor before we start, hit like and subscribe. You'll be notified every time we go live with a new video. And today, like I said, John Bannon, Alex, it's perfect timing for John Bannon. We haven't done him yet, right?
We haven't really looked at John Bannon, and John Bannon he's a prolific creator. I mean, he's putting out magic now that is it's kick ass. You know, if you know, it's he's really great. I've been a fan since I first got into magic. I was fortunate that when I got into magic, John was publishing one of his bigger works, and I got to see a lot of this stuff firsthand, and I learned a lot of this stuff and worked a lot of this stuff. I think it's all strong material that's within the grasp of everyone, and it's really varied material. You know, we're going to look at a card trick or two, but you'll see that it's pretty different card effects, and there's just effects with many different objects. And at the time I first got into magic, I was not a guy who loved to do a lot of card tricks. I wanted to do a card trick or two, not many more. I wanted to have variety. You know, I saw magicians that did only card magic, and sort of, I don't feel this way now. And it was probably that I was just not around professionals, but sort of got bored. Someone does a whole set of card magic, and it's like, great, it's a lot of card tricks. I don't need, enough with the card tricks already.
Right. It's so for the fifth phase of my oil and water, I will now, and you're like, come on, get that Spider-Man, shoot some webs.
Right. Keep me interested. Magic, keep magic going. And to me, that was an easy way in when I was a beginner, was just having very different effects that didn't look like each other. And card tricks can, without really trying, start to look a lot like each other. You know what I mean? And for that, John Bannon was super inspirational to me. And I love this magic. I think we're all going to have fun looking at this stuff and, rocking out with some John Bannon.
We're going to rock out the very first thing, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more. But this is a really short thing. This is called Shriek of the Mutilated. And this is a classic Bannon effect here. So check it out. Let's do it. Can you see that, Alex?
Got it. Looks great.
Hi, I'm John Bannon. I'd like to share with you 3 interesting discoveries I made on my last trip to the Caribbean. The first is that the population of Haiti is 90% Roman Catholic, 10% Protestant, but 100% voodoo. I also learned that there's a scientific explanation for the voodoo phenomenon. Drugs. And I learned a voodoo healing ritual. Now, before you can heal something, it has to be hurt. So I'll use one of these pieces of paper, and we'll tear it into 2 pieces, and then again into 4. Roll them up into a small ball, and now all I need is a genuine pin from a genuine voodoo doll. Do you have one?
No, I don't.
In a minute. I thought that pain in the neck was Mike Maxwell. Anyway, we'll impale the pieces on the end of the pin, like that. Apply a little heat, and mutter the ancient voodoo calypso chant, Deo, Odi Deo. And you see the magic happens, and the pieces are now a little charred, but welded together and totally restored.
Dude, I dare you as a non-magician to try to figure that out, right?
Totally. It hurt me bad. Like I said, when I first encountered a lot of this stuff, I didn't really know a lot about magic. I knew like a couple things that someone had showed me, and I bought like a beginner's book and learned really intro stuff. But that bowled me over. Like I saw that and I was like, how can this be possible? And well, the thing about John Bannon is that a lot of times his methods are just as clever and just as fun as the trick themselves. And it's one of the reasons his stuff is so great to perform. You feel good about performing because it's clever. It feels good and
and
satisfying.
this is clean. I mean, look at this, right? So
Yeah.
like procedural wise, you and I, we both know sometimes torn and restored effects, and everybody watching this knows that sometimes torn and restored effects can have those moments where you're like, he did the thing. But watch, like procedural, watch
Roll
this.
them up into a small ball, and now all I
I mean,
need,
that's it. The work's
we'll
over.
tear it.
Like,
That's right.
like watch how
That's
clean
right.
this is, right?
2 pieces.
That's
It's
right.
beautiful,
And
clean.
then again
There's nothing to see.
into 4.
Right.
Roll them up
And
into a
now
small ball,
it's
and now
over.
all I need is
Done.
a genuine pin from a genuine voodoo doll. Do you have one?
Which is
Really
what
good.
I really love about that, right?
Yeah.
That
And for those that are interested, that really want to learn it, it is in the back room, along with I teach this, and I also teach the Leipzig cigarette tear, the cigarette paper tear, which is a little bit more involved than this. This one is very satisfying though. If you learn this thing, you'll be doing it. If you have the stuff to do it, you'll be doing it within an hour, and you'll be very satisfied. You'll be fooling people immediately with it because it's easy to do once you understand the simple choreography. It's a great trick. I can't say enough things about it. There was a long time that I always had a voodoo doll pin in my bag. I'll say that.
You don't happen to know which show this is in, do you?
I don't know, but I know that there are folks that are hawks about this, and they have a hawk eye and they can find these things. Put it into the chat if you find if anyone can find it in the back room, because it's in there. I think it was a twofer. It was probably like a finer points, like one of the big shows we did where I did a couple things on the cigarette papers, because it's a classic trick. And for those that are interested, there's another really great one that David Copperfield did on television, and it was Martin Lewis's version of it. I'm sure that we talked about it in Martin Lewis's Afternoon Astonishments, and I'm sure that's available in the store. But it's called Undivided, and it's really, I think, as beautiful as this thing, but in its own way. For those that are aficionados of the torn and restored effect, especially with this medium, with using these papers like this. But I became Scott Alexander. Right. Again, go look in the back room. Check out Scott Alexander's version of this trick. Really wonderful. Robert is totally right. It's really a great version of this trick. And I seem to have that habit where if I fall in love with a trick, I want to see every method. Compare, contrast, what's good, what's bad. And sometimes new ideas occur to you on how to combine things. But usually, more often than not, you just find the beautiful routine that speaks to you, and that's going to be something that you can have your own pacing applied to it so that you can find your way into performing the effect. And that's, I think, what's most important. But yeah, there's plenty of options in the back room on how to learn this effect. So if anyone sees it, if anyone's looking in the back room and you stumble upon it, throw it in there. Otherwise, throw it in the Facebook group, and we'll find our way to it. Let's twist again. Lou. Nice. That sounds right to me. Let's twist again is what it's called.
Let's twist again. Okay. All right.
Nice work.
Good. Yeah.
Nice work. Sometimes those titles get a little bit too clever for their own good.
Yeah, no kidding, right? There it is. Let's twist again. Torn and restored cigarette paper. That's the one. Okay, good. Well, that wasn't that hard to find. So this is a Leipzig's trick, huh?
Yeah, and this other one, this John Bannon one, I'm pretty sure is part of the whole discussion there. I definitely remember going over it because it's easier and satisfying, right? Mm-hmm. So there it is. But the Leipzig one, check out the Leipzig one. I think I cracked it on that one. It's pretty great.
All right, I just put the link in there for you guys. So if you're logged into the club right now, you can click that link. You can go right to it, save it, hit that bookmark, by the way. Hey, let me launch this poll real quick. I'm curious, how many of you guys actually before today had heard of John Bannon? Curious how many of you he was new to, and how many of you he's had previously heard of him. Gives me a great idea of kind of what we're dealing with and how much history we have to talk about with Bannon. Okay, so good. All right, so that's pretty good, Alex. Yeah,
nice.
Good. Okay, all right. I'm just about to close the poll here in the poll. So I'm going to share the results. So just so it's right here, it is. Look, I mean, 90% of you know who he is. There's only a few of you guys who do not know much about Bannon. Let's watch something. How popular is Vacuum Packed? I mean, is this like a classic?
I felt like it was, but I was a super fan of this material, like I said, because I first got into it. It was like I found a gold mine. Like, you know, I had all this material, and the folks that I was hanging out with, we all sort of worked on some of these things together. Like this next one, we all got the props and worked out doing this together because, you know, we knew that the reality is that we're never in the same place doing the same tricks. You know, it's okay for all of us to be doing the same trick. And this was one of them we played with. This is great. This is outstanding magic.
Okay, I don't think I've ever seen this. Let me see.
Oh, good. You're gonna love it.
Does anyone have a quarter?
I do.
Okay, just hold on to it.
Okay.
Real tight. Keep it nice and warm. Janice, what do you see in this bottle?
2 aspirin and a matchstick.
Oh, the aspirin are for you. This trick is so mind-boggling that when it's over, you just might need them. The match, it's burnt out, isn't it?
I know.
It was lit when I put it in the bottle. It's burned all the oxygen out of the bottle, creating a vacuum of incredible intensity. That's right, this trick sucks. You have the quarter? Can I see it? Okay.
It's warm.
Nice and warm, nice and hot. Okay, that's good. Watch carefully. You're not going to believe this.
Oh my gosh.
So the quarter is inside the bottle. Now, there's the aspirin and the match. Now we've got a problem here. I suppose I could let you keep the bottle, or you could let me keep the quarter. Or we put the quarter in by magic. We'll take it out by magic. We get a hold of it with the tweezers. Now tell everybody that it is in the bottle.
It is in the bottle.
Now it's out. There's the bottle. There's your quarter. That's a real mystery.
Wow. Whoa.
Great, huh? It's just great.
Was he tipping the gaff, Elliot? I didn't feel like he. Well, I mean, I know.
Where's he tipping the gap?
Yeah, and Elliot just said he hated that he was tipping the gaff, and I was wondering if he to the layperson. You think to the layperson he's tipping the gaff?
I don't think I understand. The effect was that the thing went in. When he pulled it out, he gave it a twist. I don't see how he was exposing anything. I don't think I understand
maybe,
Elliot's point.
You know, I can say on behalf of Elliot, I would say maybe the folding quarter has become ubiquitous in this day and age, right? So maybe your average.
Well, he does pull it. He does have to pull it out, and you can't just pull that gaff out, huh?
Oh, I see. Elliot's saying that he gets it out without any special magic or effort. So
it looks pretty magical to me when it comes out. And I'll tell you this from performing it, that's a moment. You grab the coin and you go, watch, I'll just pull it right out, because they can see it can't fit through the neck. And you just, when you pull it out, it's a moment. Everyone goes, and then you hand out the coin and it's over. So, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So I love that. I love that. To me, I wasn't expecting. What is it? Like a nail polish bottle? Like, what kind of bottle is that?
It's a makeup bottle. And it was weird because at the time that the trick came out, the makeup company, they applied a sticker to that bottle. So you could get a clean bottle with nothing on it. But now it's like embossed, like they etch the bottle and they emboss the label on there. And like, you can't get rid of the label of the makeup stuff. I have a handful of them because I got them, in the 90s when I was into the trick. And of course you get backups, right? But so yeah, you have to probably like sandblast that label off to get that perfect bottle. But there's probably something like it out there now. I definitely have found like bottle distributors that have like every kind of bottle you can imagine, like but in a generic form. There's probably something out there that matches this bottle. You would just have to shop and be a little bit discerning with props in hand, sort of figuring out how to make it work. But I'm sure you could duplicate this thing. Yeah, exactly. Any of the crafting stores, if you go to one of those places, that's probably a good place to start. But after that, go on the internet, right? You can probably find a bottle that's close to that. Or, and he tells you what it is in the book. So you can look it up and you can basically get, the dimensions right, or go buy that bottle and measure it and get the dimensions so you can shop and find
I
it.
love that. I love that everybody's chatting with us, but you guys have to know that no one can see your chats if you only select to chat with panelists, right?
Oh,
So,
right.
so change your chat to chat with panelists and attendees. That way everybody can see your chats. Because right now I'm seeing everybody's chats, and I bet no one's seeing all these. And it's a great conversation. I'm loving it. I love that trick. I thought it was great, man.
I think it's pretty wonderful too. Like I said, I carried that little bottle around for a while. I had a lot of fun with that thing. It's and because it got the reactions, right? Like at that point when I was doing magic, like I had enough tricks that I was starting to weed tricks out if they weren't as strong as the other ones. And then, leads to a whole new problem, right? Your material just isn't as good as you thought.
All right. So
which better tricks?
Is this from the Magic of John Bannon? Which book is this this material?
This one is either in Impossibilia or Smoke and Mirrors. One of those two books.
Yeah, so he had so Bannon's two most famous books are the two that Alex just mentioned, Impossibilia and Smoke and Mirrors. He's also got his very first book, which was Mirage, came out in I believe in the mid '80s at some point.
That's right. And that's a fun one to read. A lot of card magic though. A lot of card magic in that one.
And then what about Dear Mr. Fantasy? That's another Bannon book.
That's a great Bannon book. I don't think that could, I think when you talk about classic books, I think Dear Mr. Fantasy is right in there with those other two. Dear Mr. Fantasy is excellent. It's all card stuff, but John Bannon is just a very clever magician, a very card magician, just a clever human. Like I said, I'm a fan, and I think that he elevates these plots when he touches them. Like this was just coin in the bottle. The other one was just the torn and restored cigarette paper. He makes them into something bigger after he's done with them and presents them to us, right? And it's cool, man. All of that stuff is like that. Dear Mr. Fantasy is no different. All those tricks, right? All those tricks in that book are just amazing. I did one recently in our favorite tricks that's killer called Dead Reckoning. It's an amazing thing from Dear Mr. Fantasy. I'll say no more. Look it up.
Ooh, I like it. All right, let's watch a little something from overseas. This is Bannon. I always love when magicians use these kinds of titles for the tricks. Okay, Say No More. We're just gonna watch it. Yeah, Twisted Sister. Exactly, Newell. This is not
right.
We're not watching Twisted Sister right now, but Twisted Sister is a great example of Bannon's genius thinking. Okay, here we go. Boom.
Here we go.
Tricks?
Yes.
Yeah, you like money?
Anything to do with money.
Okay. Well, this one's going to kill you. It only uses one coin. And let me tell you first what I'm not going to do. Okay, I'm not going to take the $50, give it a squeeze, and make it disappear and come out of my sleeve. All magicians can do that. And to the best of my knowledge, what you're about to see has only been done by one person, myself. What I'm going to do is take this $50, make it change places with a $50 in Pittsburgh. Watch. The date even changed. You're not impressed.
The date even changed.
How did you like it?
I like it.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'll go further than that. What I'll do is I'll make a coin from Pittsburgh change places with a coin from London. Like that. You see, now that's an English penny.
Oh,
Yeah.
now I'm impressed. Yeah.
Oh, now he's good, but I'm out 49 cents. Now most magicians would stop right there, but I'm going to go further than that. I'm going to get my coin back from London, like that. Now I have two coins, a $50, right, and an English penny, and I'm going to make these two coins change places right before your very eyes. Watch, just a little wave is all it takes. Now, do you remember which one was on top?
With your hand up, it'd be the penny.
It doesn't matter. The $50 and English penny change places with two coins from China. You see, these are Chinese coins. And that's the...
Those are nice.
Oh, I almost would need to watch that again.
It's a good classic coin trick, man. Again, another one that I wouldn't leave home without. I had this one in my pocket all the time because it's on the sleight of hand scale. It's pretty easy stuff, pretty low tech, and the effect is over the moon. I mean, the point when I was learning this stuff, to do an effect like that, I would need like a custom machined gaff that would make that sort of thing happen. That was the only way an effect like that was going to happen in my hands until I found this method. You know what I mean? Like
Is
being
that
able
what
to change a solid coin into a coin with a hole in it. Like, how do you do that? How do you do that? You know
is
what I
that
mean?
one in Impossibilia or
This one's an Impossibilia. Yeah,
okay.
totally. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, like
Very simple.
I think that actual first phase too, where he has that need and it's in that classic palm, right there, but his palm is up and he's like, I'm gonna have it change places, and then I'm gonna have it change places with a coin in the UK. Like that's a pretty cool moment and not a way I have ever used that gaff. I don't use the gaff that overt, right? Like
Yeah.
I think that's pretty
To me,
creative.
it was the only way I could do it because I wanted to do like the things we talk about when you're talking about that. Like I wanted to do Spellbound. I wanted to do all those effects, but my coin magic was not good enough to support those kind of effects yet. I still needed a few more years of work. And Bannon had this lower tech way for me to get into performing some of the effects that the really great coin guys that I knew were doing, and make me feel like I could at least be part of the conversation. Right.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is I turned the volume off because I kind of wanted to watch it one more time, and I think because I missed a lot of what was going on, and of course we're not gonna really talk about what's secretly going on, but that's a nice to me that's a nice moment there where I'm just gonna fast forward a little bit because
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
get to the part that I needed to watch again.
Yeah. There you go. That's it.
So I think that's
Great.
beautiful. What a
It's
great
great.
direct
That's fooling magic. That's great magic.
right there. Okay. And so he does this thing where he places it like, let's see. Oh, we hear two, right? We hear that
Mm-hmm.
he has two. He shows
And
the
then he
two
shows one of each.
and he places one on top like that. Boom. Okay. I see.
It's great.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Doable,
Look at that.
doable for anyone, man. Totally. It's all there. It's
Oh,
all there.
wow. There was something secret I missed too. I like that. It was on the move.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yes. Okay. Good job, Bannon. I like the construction of that. No, Elliot, it wasn't. It wasn't just Bobo. That's pretty cool. God, that's a great. I missed two or three little things in there on the first one.
And think about that. You're a guy that knows magic and you miss two or three things, right? And to a layman, they have no choice but to go on the ride that you're giving them there. There's no way they can see any of that stuff. Like I said, when I left the house, that was in my pocket because it was a fooler. It was just a fooler, man.
Yeah. Wow, that's really good. Really good. Okay, Bannon. If you're watching this, we like your magic. Okay.
John knows I love him. He's the man. I think he's one of the great magicians, man.
Let's watch another one, you guys. This one is called Shock Treatment.
Oh yeah.
These are all short too. I love this.
Yeah.
Before we start, I'm going to remove one
Right to the
card
heart
from
of
the
the
deck,
matter.
a card whose value is known only to me, thus rendering it a card of mystery. I'll put it in my pocket for now. And Janice, I'd like you to just select a card. Take your pick. That's good. Show it to everybody else but me. Okay? Okay? All right, great. And Julie, I'd like you to, well, instead of selecting one, just think of one. Think of any card at all, but make sure it's a different color than the one that Janice picked.
Can I see that one again? Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
You're thinking of a card?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Janice, place your card back in the deck. Now, no one could possibly know what card you're thinking of.
No.
And it's unlikely that anybody knows where your card is in the deck. If we combine those two principles, maybe we could come up with something really interesting. Now, there's a number on your card, right? Or a letter.
A number.
Okay. Double it.
Okay.
Take the deck and deal that many cards onto the table. Now, if the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter has aligned with Mars, something very interesting could happen. If the stars at night are big. Are you done?
Yes.
Okay, now, no one could know what card you would think of. So no one could know how many cards would end up in this pile. So no one could know what card this is ahead of time. But what card did you pick?
Two of clubs.
The two of clubs? You know, you're pretty good at this. And there it is, the two of clubs. But you're still thinking of a card, right? What card is it? What card are you thinking of?
Let you know.
Yeah, just say it.
Five of diamonds.
See, I knew that. No, I did. Otherwise, how else could I have done this trick? How else could I have let you find Janice's card if I didn't know what card you were thinking of? You are skeptical.
Yes.
That's why before we started, I placed one card in my pocket. Remember? The card of mystery, the card whose value is known only to me. And this was before you even thought about thinking about a card.
Correct.
And what card did you think of?
Five of diamonds.
And there it is, five of diamonds.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
That's pretty
yeah.
great, right?
Yeah.
Sneaks up on you. That one sneaks up on you. And by the time it sneaks up on you, you're like, wait a second, what happened? How? How'd that
Yeah,
go
'cause
down?
there's a method in there that seems so direct that you would think that the audience would pick up on it,
Mhm.
but then he masks it so well
Agreed.
in a couple of different ways. One way he masks it is by turn and talking to the other spectator, and you know, the counting procedure just doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal. But that moment did catch me off guard. I was like, that's weird that he would ask a spectator to do that, but it worked. And then I still kind of got fooled there. So like,
Well, if you don't know the underlying thing that's really happening here, there's no way you can. There's too much smoke, right? Because all that other stuff you're focusing on, you can't see the other thing. Maybe this is one that's worth looking into, and maybe one of our favorite tricks, just so we can sort of like get a deeper dive on this, because it's a pretty good one. It's a sweetheart of a trick, and there's a lot of things going on that probably will inspire other lanes of thought for other people too. It's a good one, man. I home run.
yeah, I've learned when Alex says something like that, the answer is always yes. We should wait and break it down, because usually there is going to be a great lesson in there. George, the name of that trick was shock treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Shock treatment. Weird.
And again, it's in that classic one, Impossibilia. That book is like, you know, it's one of those books, like you could open it to any page and be like, that's a killer piece of magic, man. It's a home run of a book. It's one of those books that I'll probably, you know, if I ever thin down my library, that'll be one of the few that I hang on to until I just stop doing magic, or, you know, stop breathing or whatever. Love it.
John's got such direct magic too. Like his plots are, you know, like that was the most complicated plot in, you know, that he has, that I've seen him do yet.
Totally.
And we are looking at old school magic. Like this is Bannon way back. So
yeah, this is Bannon in the 90s, right? Exactly.
Yeah, so this is, but you know, Bannon's start probably was really always made sure that, you know, effect was first, and the effect was very clear. Effect is very clear. So,
and he's when he was doing hardcore magic and started publishing magic, he was in the DC area where Aaron's from, and in that town, you know, you sort of have to have direct magic to even be part of the conversation, because there's so many great magicians that are from there. You know, it's sort of one of those places like Hollywood, like where the Magic Castle is, because there's so much energy. There's so many people there that are working on magic together or separately and inspiring others, that, you know, it's sort of, you know, that rising tide lifts all the boats kind of thing is happening there, you know, like it is in Hollywood. You know what I mean? So Bannon was, you know, he had to have good stuff to have even be part of the conversation with a lot of the guys that he wanted to talk to. So it's awesome, man. It's all just great stuff. And you're totally right. Direct. That's the thing.
Yeah, direct. And now I'm not familiar with this next one either, which is great for me. So this is going to be my first time seeing it. I'm excited. All right, here we go.
Julie, why don't you put your initials on that quarter for me? Nice and big, right on George Washington's face.
Okay.
J, B. Good. Have you ever written your initials on a quarter before?
No.
Maybe when you were little?
No.
Okay, good. How many quarters are there in the world, say?
Probably millions.
Probably millions, but how many of them have your initials on them?
This one.
That's right. So if we ever ran across this quarter some other place, some other time, you'd be able to recognize it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this quarter came out of your pocket.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with it?
Nothing at all.
Okay, that's good, because these people trust you. It's me they don't trust. And they shouldn't, because I'm going to cheat. See, watch, just a little squeeze and the quarter disappears. See, I snuck it up my sleeve. I told you I was going to cheat. Watch, just a toss. It vanishes. It's gone completely. And it's not up here. It's over here. But watch, just a little toss, and it jumps. See, the coin likes to hang out in joints. So just a snap, and it's gone. It's not here. It's not here. It's behind my knee. It's not a trick coin, it's a trick knee. So those are your initials. But the funny thing is it gets a little bit bigger. Now, isn't that the biggest quarter you've ever seen?
Truly.
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that I switched quarters on you. But actually, this quarter still has your initials on it. That's why I had you mark the coin to begin with. See, right on the back, it says your initials. I know the jokes aren't very funny. In fact, if I was a comedian, I'd probably get the sack. Julie, you know what this is?
The sack.
It's the sack. Now inside here, well, maybe I ought to polish up my act a little bit. Okay, I promise, no more polished jokes. But inside we have, well, it's a small envelope. And it says, open in case of emergencies. We still need to find your quarter.
I want that back.
So inside is, well, it's an aspirin tin. We're getting closer. Because inside the tin, oh, and look at that. It's a quarter, right? But is it your
My
quarter?
quarter.
Is it? Take a look. Now show it to everybody. That's your initials, right? Ooh.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Nice.
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 Nice and wonderful. I'll settle.
Goodness gracious. Goodness.
So again, same thing, classic plot of magic, right? It's just the coin in a nest of boxes, but very clever way to get to that ending of that trick. I mean, the jokes, you take them or leave them, right? But all those nests, they're all different, right? Usually it's the same box over and over again. Oh, and it's a smaller one. It's a smaller one. It's a smaller one. And I just, it's clever thinking because you could take what he did there and sort of pick your own nests because you only need to worry about like one of them. Only one of them is really important, So clever thinking.
And the way that the aspirin came out with the quarter at the end, is that original or is that built in?
That's really, if anything, similar to any of the stuff that's out there. That's the classic part of it. I think probably the aspirin tin is probably the classic part, right? Because it's sort of the same method that you would use classically for the card in the box in some way or another, right? It would be very close to that.
Huh. Very old Burt Allerton. So
there you go. Burt Allerton, totally. The Close-Up Magician. That book is one of the, if you do restaurant magic, you need that Burt Allerton book. And he has a couple things with aspirin tins because they're that big and they fit in your pocket. And, it's just an inspiring idea. You might not be able to do it with that necessarily that little tin, but there's other tins that exist today that would make sense that you could do all these things with and easier to get into. Of course, how big.
I would say, yeah, like you might have to go with Altoids. Like that might be there.
Exactly. And they're easier to open, like I said. So all of that stuff, a card. Well, our buddy Danny Garcia, he has that really great card to Altoids tin. He has that gaffed box that he put out, and it, it's innocent looking. It's really, if you guys want a good card in a box, go look up Danny Garcia's. I think it's just called Mint Box or something like that. Killer. The demo will knock you down. It's really a good trick. I'm a fan.
I'm gonna watch that next. I mean, not right now.
Yeah. I hear you. It's worth it. Totally worth your time.
So, as far as nest, that had me going there too, because I didn't know there was going to be the Baker dump thing. I thought it was legitimately, I thought that trick was over by the time he picked up the bag. And
I think, to your point, that I think that's where it ends for most laymen, for anyone that's not educated in any sort of sleight of hand in any way or knows anything about magical methods. That's where they're at too. By the time you pick up that bag, in their mind, they're going, no way it's in there. How? And now each of those nests adds more smoke. So you go, how? And it's twisting the knot even more of how could it possibly be inside of that too? Right. And I think that's why it works. But we're fortunate that we can, a lot of times we can grok out a method kind of, and just enough, or a part of it will fool us. Right. And if that little part fools us, we're like, How? And to a layman, if they figure out any little tiny parts, they're like, oh, I know how he did it.
Dude, that trick would have hurt me right there, though. God, that would have hurt me so bad.
Me too.
It kind of reminds me. There's this great trick. Michael Sproul did this great trick at the summit a couple of years ago, where the sign quarter ended up in the ball of yarn.
Right. That's a real classical way to do it. Right. That's great. Yeah, Michael, he got it. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the best for stage, man. It's great.
Yes. And it's a different method than this entirely, but equally as strong, if not stronger. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think we have a few different ways we can get to that outcome in magic, and they're equally as well. Some are easier than others, but I don't know. I'd have to really let them duke it out. I'd have to fight for which one was best, because both of those. I mean, that one was really good. And the yarn.
Well, it ends up becoming the effect of. I mean, yes, it's a coin to that nest of boxes, but really it's an impossible location, right? And instead of a coin, it's just a known object, or in this case, it's a signed object that ends up in an impossible location. So it's sort of the same effect as like card to wallet when you sign a card and it's in your wallet, right? It's the same sort of thing. And really it's just coming down to, for me, which one is the one that speaks to you the most, that you can really like wring out every drop of magic and really make them feel that effect, and because in every show I have some sort of object to an impossible location. It's not always the same object. Sometimes it's a bill, sometimes it's a signed coin, signed card, what have you. But I always have that effect somewhere in whatever set I'm doing, because it's strong, right? There's no explanation for what you've done when that effect is successful. There's nothing else like it. It's really something.
We have one final video of old school magic of John Bannon. I think you saved maybe one of the best for last here, Alex. So this is
a real fooler. I really love this effect, and he has a couple different versions of this effect. This version, in my opinion, is the best version of this effect that he has. And I don't know, you tell me when it's over what you think of it, because I think it's pretty great.
Okay, Julie, before we start, you see this envelope? It is sealed, right? There's no holes in it anyway. Okay, I'm going to place it right here, and you can glance at it on occasion, but don't let it out of your sight.
Okay.
Now, you shuffle these cards, right?
I sure did.
Okay, before we start, I'm going to remove 3 cards as sort of a prediction. Okay, I usually only remove one, but in this case, I think I can risk removing 3. Okay, now what I'd like you to do is just select one of those cards, any one at all. It's your choice.
Do I pick it out?
Yeah, just take it out.
Okay.
Okay, and don't show it to me, but write your initials on the face of it with that pen. Okay? All right?
Okay.
Okay. Can I have the pen back? That's how I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
And place your card back in the deck. Now, you can forget what it is because it has your initials on it, right?
Okay.
But no, it works better if you do remember. All right, now, do you believe in coincidence?
Yes, I do.
So do I. Isn't that a coincidence? Do you believe in ESP?
On occasions.
I knew you were going to say that. How about intuition? How do you feel about intuition?
I feel strongly.
I had a feeling that you would feel like that. As a matter of fact, I had a feeling that your intuition level was so high. That's why I asked you to participate with me in this trick. Seriously, I'm going to run you through a series of tests. 3 tests to see whether your intuition is really as high as I thought it was going to be. Okay, I'm going to think of a number between 1 and 10. Got it. What number do you think I'm thinking of?
8.
Right. I told you this, Jen. All right, we'll try something else. It's a little bit different. What I want you to do is take the deck of cards, give it a cut, and place that half on top sideways. Think you can do that?
Okay.
Go ahead, try it. That's pretty good. Now, you remember I placed these prediction cards aside before we started.
Totally.
A long time ago. All right, now you cut to this card. Do you have any idea what card you cut to?
No.
Okay, neither do I. It's the Queen of Spades. Now, someone with normal intuition, their card would have matched one of my 3 predictions. But since you have higher than average, I chose my 3 predictions to all be the same, and you picked the only card that matched them.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad, is it? You want to try one more? It's
Okay.
it's real difficult. Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, remember this sealed envelope?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now inside this envelope is a playing card. Now I placed that card in there so long ago, even I don't remember what it is. Nobody knows the identity of that playing card.
Okay.
But Julie, what I'd like you to do is to use your intuition and combine it with that of the queens and tell me what card your intuition tells you that card is. Now before you do, remember a couple things. This envelope was on the table before we even started. Secondly, this is a card trick and I am a magician.
Right?
Lastly, remember you selected a card, you wrote your initials on it?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Keeping that in mind, what card do you think that card is?
I don't know.
What card did you select?
I wrote my name on it.
Right. Do you,
She
you
did
don't
tell
remember?
him. He did tell her she could
Turn it
forget
over
it.
and see if your initials are on there. Those are your initials.
It's a
So
good
you
one,
failed
man.
that test, but you did fine.
Wow, Alex.
Elliot, it's not Brother Hammond's sign card. This is an elevation. I think, again, this is why Bannon is so great, because he takes a plot like the sign card and elevates it to something more. I think this is a little bit more than that trick. I think this is really something, you know. Bannon can really wring out every drop, like we were saying before. He can really like distill it down so he can make it as direct as possible. And I think that's as direct as that sort of plot can get without palming a card. You know what I mean? And that's one of the great things about that trick is everything was there. Everything was on the table. There was nothing secret happening.
That's not a really super easy trick to do, because you have to know a few slights. You have to know how to do a couple of things. It's not self-working, obviously, but wow. I mean, in terms of me, like if you would have told me the method, I would have said to you, no, you can't get away with that with the spectator staring straight down at the cards.
Totally.
But he did.
Yeah.
And it flew right by her, and it flew right by me. I mean, I saw it, but it flew right by me when it was happening.
That's right.
Disappears.
Strong construction, man. And that's the thing. Again, I think that's what John's gift is that he can see a plot for what it is. He can tear down someone's old framework and recognize what was important about that framework and sort of build a new one and clean up the rough edges around any of the rough edges that someone had when they originally constructed the trick. And again, it's what you said before. He's able to find these things and make them so direct by just whittling away what's unnecessary and sometimes switching something around really simply. And a lot of this, yeah, there's some slights that are there, but a lot of it, if you saw it, you know, it's like displays. You're doing displays rather than like moves, you know, it's sort of happening. I mean, an Elmsley count or like one of these, like the ghost count where you're sort of hiding cards. They're more of display moves rather than like what I consider to be like a hardcore sleight with cards. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And the fact that he, to get to the end of that, he had to use another device, another trick in order to interlace, to get to the end of that effect. It's really pretty smart thinking. I mean, I got to say, like, I definitely, probably given me 100 years, couldn't have figured out that exact progression of how to put that together. It's very creative, huh?
It's very creative. Yeah, it's inspiring, you know, because you hope that you could create things like John Bannon does. I don't ever think I do, but there's definitely things that rub off on you when you look at construction. And, you know, for me, sometimes it's just as creative how you put tricks together and sort of the things you say on these tricks when you're performing them, as much as, you know, creating a trick from scratch. I think that they're sort of two different muscles and two different gifts to the world. You know what I mean? And I hang out in the performer world more. And for me, it's like, you know, seeing those things inspire me to take things to the next level. How can I do something that makes it just a little bit more? Not that I have an original idea or, you know, it's maybe a twist of originality that I've applied to something, but that's about it, you know? And I think it's all micro steps. All these guys, all of us, we're all standing on the shoulders of giants, right?
Yeah. Heart of the City is the name of that trick, just so you guys know. And that is that also in Impossibilities?
Impossibilia, there is a version of it. I think it's in there. It might be called the discrepancy city prediction, right? It was a step in along the path of getting to this thing, right? He published a method that he was like, that's it. That's the last method. But then he tweaked it a little bit more. And I think this one only exists in the Impossibilia DVD. We'll see if we have that in the store. If not, send me a message. I'll go look after this, and we'll make sure that we have that John Bannon DVD available, because it's classic stuff. You should do this stuff. It's good magic.
Yeah. So in other words, like he had an earlier version of this that he put in the book, and you can tell this had years of thinking layered on top of it until he put out the latest version. That's pretty good Bannon, man. I mean, talk about old school. I mean, we're looking at old school Bannon. I'd hate to see what new school Bannon is up to.
He's just as prolific, man. He's tackling plots in a different way, and he's trying to make it so that it's more accessible, you know, taking like classic plots of magic and sort of getting them as close as he can to like a self-working trick, if there is such a thing as a self-working trick. I mean, you have to have a lot of things going on even if you're doing a self-working trick, but he's taking a lot of these plots and making them through procedure look a lot more simple, and it's almost like you're doing nothing but still getting miracle class effects. He's a creative genius, man. I think anything that Bannon puts out, if you see his name and this stuff turned you on, give it a look. You're probably going to be happy. You're probably going to be happy that you picked that thing up.
Well said, Alex. Thank you guys for joining us today for Afternoon Astonishment. Do us a quick favor, hit like on this video and take a moment to subscribe to Conjuror Community on our YouTube and our Facebook channels. And we will see you shortly, just a couple of days away, next time on Afternoon Astonishment.